I love it here at Rocky Bay. Fresh air, wild seas, and it's even got real pirates.
Morning, Rupert. Good to see you again. What? I says it be our young friend Rupert come for a visit. Biscuits!
Here you are, Mr. Ribbons. Freshly baked this morning.
Bless your mum's heart, lad. How be your parents then, Rupert?
Very well, thank you, Tom.
And you? It'd be only a year since last we see you, but you be grown, lad.
How are you, Bill?
Old, lad. We all be old. Lad, I just be remembering. This be for you. Something of mine from the good old days on the Spanish Main.
It's great, Tom. Thanks. There's something inside it. Look at this, everyone.
A treasure map? You don't say.
Captain Pegleg's treasure, Dad. The most feared pirate ever to sail the Spanish Main.
Take good care of him, Tom.
I was watching them when they pulled it out. A treasure map hidden in that old toy ship. Those old gaffers don't know it, but they're gonna lead us right to the treasure.
Look lively, me hearties! Man the jib! Set the sails!
What? You has to speak up, lad. Hearing's not what it used to be. Aye, and neither be this old tub.
Cheer up, Bill. You're back on board a ship bound for adventure, just like the old days. That's where we start, Spyglass Point.
Avast, ye scurvy bilge-rats! Say your prayer!
Who do you think it could be?
One of our old pirate mates be trying to beat us to the treasure. What thinks you, Bill Bottles?
Set sail or I'll blow you to Davy Jones' locker!
It'd be Flint, all right. Back pains make you mighty short-tempered to do. Rupert! We has to do something! What cannons we do? We be too old to be charging cannons. What? Charge? Hey! Charge! Save the lad! But who be saving us?
Drop ye weapons or I'll run you through!
Don't worry, he isn't as fierce as he sounds.
Cotton Billy's the name.
A parrot? What be you laughing at, you buzzard?
It'll be easy to catch up to those geezers.
I give 'em an hour before their legs give out.
Billy, I need your help.
Aye, aye, mate. This way, lads. Look lively, mates. Come on, they're heading off that way.
There's the anchor, just like on the map.
We must be getting close to the treasure. What be our course now, Rupert?
I don't know. There's no more markings. There's only an X that marks the spot, somewhere in the middle of the island.
We could look for months and still miss it by a couple of feet. I says we goes back.
But we can't go back, because...
Danger! Danger!
They can't be far ahead.
They're gonna pay for this with more than their treasure.
Anchor to wheel, mind the first step. I wonder what Follow the course the spot's marked with an X. The stream should lead us right to the treasure. Those two don't give up easily. Time to reset their compass, eh, Captain Billy?
Aye, aye, matey. Over here! They're not following the stream. They went this way.
It can't be solid rock.
His legs! Look!
Captain Peglegs!
It be his ghost, a-guarding his treasure! Oh, I knows this be a bad idea! What he be saying then?
Not a word, Mr. Ribbons.
He not be moving much either. That be no ghost!
It's a scarecrow.
You just look at him pointing down at the old fool's wee bee for coming all this way just so's he can get the last laugh.
Not laughing at us, Bill. Trying to show us something. There!
Oh!
Avast ye landlubbers! Make way for Captain Peglegs!
That lad be acting like he be drinking seawater. Ah, we be too old for these games.
If it's me, yourselves!
Well, blows me down. We done it.
Get off me, you old coots!
Keep a hold, Mr. Ribbons!
Look out!
Giving up, are ye?
Why, you...
Look out below! It ain't good for an old man to be pushed too far.
After we've taken those two to the police station, what do you plan to do with all the treasure?
Well, what ye be doing with your share, Rupert?
My share?
Ye be a part of this crew, lad, deserving of an equal. Cucumber sandwich, folks?
Thank you, Tom. Would you like me to cut your crust off for you?
No, thank ye, Mrs. Bear.
Tom! You have new teeth! I said I like Tom's new teeth, Mr. Ribbons!
You don't have to be shouting, lad. What with my newfangled ear trumpet, I can hear you loud and clear.
Ain't good for an old man to sit down too long, Mr. Bear. Mark my words.
Well, I...
Come on, dear. You're only as old as you feel.
One day, Paddington parked his shopping basket on wheels outside the baker's while he bought his morning supply of buns. And when he came out again, he found to his surprise there was a large cardboard box inside it. There was a note pinned to the outside. It said, "Your shopping basket on wheels is in such good condition, it shows you are just the kind of person we are looking for. You could be earning £100 a week. Wait here and I will tell you how." Paddington could hardly believe his eyes, let alone his good fortune.
"Ah," said a voice behind him. "I'm glad to see you've accepted our offer of a vacuum cleaner, sir."
"A vacuum cleaner?" exclaimed Paddington.
"That's right, sir. Why, a young gentleman like your good self, with drive and ambition, could make a fortune as one of our sales bears. You'd clean up in no time at all. Mind you, this is a once-only offer. I should look snappy and start demonstrating it while you've got the chance. And don't go telling everyone, or they'll all want to have a go."
"The thing is," said Paddington, "who shall I demonstrate it to?"
"Ah!" bellowed Mr. Curry. "Why don't you watch where you're going? Look at the mess you've made."
"Don't worry, Mr. Curry," announced Paddington. "I can clean that up with my new cleaner. I'm giving free demonstrations."
Did you say free demonstrations? Can you do carpets?
"I can clean anything, Mr. Curry," said Paddington. "I've just had it all explained to me."
"In that case, Bear," said Mr. Curry, "come this way. I have a little job you can finish off for me."
Paddington had never demonstrated a vacuum cleaner before, and as it was for Mr. Curry, he decided he would try and impress him by making as big a mess as possible first.
What's going on, Bear? What's that mess? How dare you?
Don't worry, Mr. Curry. It's all part of my demonstration. I'm just looking for your socket.
My socket? My socket? I haven't got a socket. I haven't even got electricity. I'm on gas.
"Gas?" Mr. Curry repeated Paddington. "Oh." "All of which only goes to show," said Mrs. Brown, "that bears should always look before they leap. And neighbours, who are forever trying to get something for nothing, deserve all that happens to them," agreed Mrs. Bird. "I shall never, ever use a vacuum cleaner again," said Paddington. "I shall always sweep the dust under the carpet, like Mr. Brown does."
Here comes trouble, people used to say. And who do you think would come walking along? Oh, watch it, here comes trouble. That's right, little Miss Trouble. Oh, the trouble she caused. One morning, she went to see Mr. Uppity.
Do you know what Mr. Small calls you behind your back?
No. What does Mr. Small call me behind my back?
Well, Mr. Small says that you're so
Yes.
naughty.
Yes.
That's happening.
I see, really, does he really? Now, Mr. Uppity didn't like that. Not at all. Not one little bit. He went round immediately to find Mr. Small. Little Miss Trouble hugged herself with glee.
Oh, I do like making trouble. There's nothing like a spot of trouble, I say, to liven up the day.
What a naughty girl. Little Miss Trouble went to see Mr. Clever.
I say, do you know what Mr. Small calls you behind your back?
No, tell me, what does Mr. Small call me behind my back?
Well, Mr. Small
Yes.
says that you think you're
Really?
Really?
Really? Does he really? Now, Mr. Clever didn't like that very much either. Off he rushed to find Mr. Small. Little Miss Trouble was so pleased with herself.
Oh, I do like making trouble. It's no trouble for me, you see. In fact, it's easy peasy.
She went to see Mr. Worry.
Hey, do you know what Mr. Small says about you behind your back?
No. No, tell me, what does Mr. Small say about me behind my back?
Well, Mr. Small says that
Oh. Oh, yes.
That's very naughty.
Well, I don't believe it. Mr. Worry was furious. Off he worried to find Mr. Small. Little Miss Trouble was beside herself with glee.
Oh, I do like making trouble. It's so much fun for me.
Mr. Small was working in the corner shop. He was busy stacking boxes of sweets on the counter. Suddenly, the door flew open and in rushed Mr. Uppity, followed very closely by Mr. Clever, followed even closer by Mr. Worry. Look here! I want a word with you. We want to see you. Yes, we want to see you right away. Yes, I'd like to see you too. I really would like to see you. Mr. Small almost jumped out of his skin. He took one step backwards and fell off the counter, bringing half the boxes down on top of him. When little Miss Trouble heard what had happened to poor Mr. Small, she chuckled to herself all the way home. Mr. Small arrived at the hospital in an ambulance and hobbled in to see the doctor. Good heavens! Whatever's happened to you? Asked Dr. Make-You-Well. Mr. Small told the doctor his story. Oh, I see. Well, I think that something should be done about that little lady. What she needs is... Yes. Yes, that's it. What's it? Said Mr. Small. Dr. Make-You-Well whispered something into Mr. Small's ear. Would you like to know what he whispered? Well, I'm not telling you. It's a secret. That afternoon, Mr. Small went to see Mr. Tickle. Hey, do you know what Miss Trouble calls you behind your back? What does Miss Trouble call me behind my back? Mr. Small looked at him. Pudding face. What? Pudding face. Then Mr. Small went to see Mr. Bump. Hello, Mr. Bump. Hello. Do you know what Miss Trouble calls you behind your back? No? What does Miss Trouble call me behind my back? Mr. Nitwit. What? Mr. Nitwit. Little Miss Trouble was in trouble. How dare you call me Pudding Face? Said Mr. Tickle angrily. And he tickled her. And how dare you call me Mr. Nitwit? Said Mr. Bump. And he bumped her. No, I don't know whether you've ever been tickled and bumped at the same time, but it's not much fun. In fact, it's no fun at all. Tickle bump, tickle bump, tickle bump, tickle bump, tickle bump, for 10 minutes. And 10 minutes of tickle bumping is a long time, I can tell you. Later that evening, Dr. Makewell strolled round to see Mr. Small. "Hello, Mr. Small. How's your foot?" Oh, much better now, thank you. And did our little plan work?" "It did indeed, yes." "Shake," said Dr. Makewell, and they shook hands. Well, not quite hands. Dr. Makewell then strolled round to see Miss Trouble. She was feeling very sorry for herself. "Oh, I see. And what's wrong with you?" And she told him all about it. All about everything.
Mr. Small went round and told Mr. Tickle that I called him Pudding Face and I didn't. Then Mr. Small told Mr. Bump that I called him Nitwit and I didn't. And then Mr. Tickle and Mr. Bump came round and went tickety-bump, tickety-bump, tickety-bump.
Oh, cheer up. You know what you've just had, don't you? Little Miss Trouble shook her head.
No? What?
A taste of your own medicine.
Elmer. There was once a herd of elephants. Elephants young, elephants old, elephants tall or fat or thin, elephants like this, that, or the other, all different, but all happy and all the same colour. All, that is, except Elmer. Elmer was different. Elmer was patchwork. Elmer was yellow and orange and red and pink and purple and blue and green and black and white. Elmer was not elephant colour. It was Elmer who kept the elephants happy. Sometimes he joked with the other elephants. Sometimes they joked with him. But if there was even a little smile, it was usually Elmer who started it. One night, Elmer couldn't sleep for thinking. And the think that he was thinking was that he was tired of being different. Who ever heard of a patchwork elephant, he thought. No wonder they laugh at me. In the morning, before the others were really awake, Elmer slipped quietly away, unnoticed. As he walked through the jungle, Elmer met other animals. They always said, "Good morning, Elmer." Each time Elmer smiled and said, "Good morning." After a long walk, Elmer found what he was looking for, a large bush. A large bush covered with berries. A large bush covered with elephant-coloured berries. Elmer caught hold of the bush and shook it so that the berries fell on the ground. Once the ground was covered in berries, Elmer lay down and rolled over and over, this way and that way and back again. Then he picked up bunches of berries and rubbed himself all over, covering himself with berry juice until there wasn't any sign of any yellow or orange or red or pink or purple or blue or green or black or white. When he'd finished, Elmer looked like any other elephant. After that, Elmer set off back to the herd. On the way, he passed the other animals again. This time, each one said to him,
"Good morning, elephant."
And each time Elmer smiled and said, "Good morning," pleased that he wasn't recognized. When Elmer rejoined the other elephants, they were all standing quietly. None of them noticed Elmer as he worked his way to the middle of the herd. After a while, Elmer felt that something was wrong. But what? He looked around. Same old jungle, same old bright sky, same old rain cloud that came over from time to time. And lastly, same old elephants. Elmer looked at them. The elephants were standing absolutely still. Elmer had never seen them so serious before. The more he looked at the serious, silent, still, standing elephants, the more he wanted to laugh. Finally, he could bear it no longer. He lifted his trunk, and at the top of his voice, he shouted, The elephants jumped and fell always in surprise. "Oh my gosh and golly," they said. Then saw Elmer, helpless with laughter. "Elmer," they said. "It must be Elmer." Then the other elephants laughed too, as they had never laughed before. As they laughed, the rain cloud burst. And when the rain fell on Elmer, his patchwork started to show again. The elephants still laughed as Elmer was washed back to normal. "Oh, Elmer," gasped an old elephant. "You've played some good jokes, but this has been the biggest laugh of all." "It didn't take you long to show your true colors, eh?" "We must celebrate this day every year," said another. "This will be Elmer's Day. All elephants must decorate themselves, and Elmer will decorate himself elephant color." That is exactly what the elephants do. On one day a year, they decorate themselves and parade. On that day, if you happen to see an elephant, ordinary elephant color, you will know it must be Elmer.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
Clear the road! Mrs. Maple's cat is at it again!
Oh, poor Mrs. Maple.
What a moggy. I've heard of cats having 9 lives. This one must have 100.
Why is everyone so excited about Mrs. Maple's cat?
Because this is no ordinary cat, Nellie. Not one of your happy chase a squirrel up a tree, chase a mouse around the kitchen cats. This one, he's called Tiger. He likes danger, and we have to rescue him every time he lands himself in a terrible predicament.
What's a predicament?
A predicament is a cat what has got itself lost, and the good old fire brigade has to look for it high and low, search every nook and cranny, and finally finds that cat trapped in a post box.
Gosh, how did you solve that predicament?
We prized open the post box, stuck a stamp on Tiger's head and sent him home. 5p to pay, missus.
And what's happening now?
Someone has got himself stuck in the deepest well in the village, that's what. A well so deep, we've had to send a diver down to bring him up. Here he comes now. And that's that. I don't think Tiger will get into any more mischief today.
Well then, I'll call on Mr. Mac and Mr. Tosh. I promised to show them my photo album.
Oh, look at that, Mr. Tosh. It's Nellie with a bucket and spade at the seaside. You do take a lovely picture, Nellie.
Help! Help! Tiger is trapped high on a telephone wire. I've called the fire brigade, but they're miles away. Oh, if someone doesn't get up there soon and save him. Don't worry, Mrs. Maple. I'll save old Tiger.
Everyone hurried to the village's only telephone pole, and yes, there was Tiger, enjoying every minute of his latest adventure. As Nellie reached the top of the telephone pole, she remembered her circus days, the long climb to the roof of the big tent, stepping out onto the thin wire, balancing with her umbrella, the glare of the spotlights, and never looking down at the crowd below. Hooray for Nellie! Hooray for old Nellie! You did a good job there, Nellie!
Oh, thank you, Nellie. You're the bravest elephant in the whole world. Oh, honestly, Mrs. Maple, it was nothing special.
Well, I think it was something extra special. How'd you like to join the fire brigade, Nellie?
How exciting that would be.
She could almost hear the roar of the motor, the clang, clang of the fire bell. And then she heard another sound. It came, as always, floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. And so, while all the villagers rushed home to see if their telephones were still working, Nellie slipped away behind the fire engine and followed the long road to the distant hills.
I want a cat. Jessie wanted a cat. All her friends had pets. Some of them had big pets. and some of them had little pets. Jessie felt that she was the only girl in the world with no pet. And Jessie wanted a cat. Her mum and dad always said, no. Crawly, creepy, yowly things, they called them. So they kept giving Jessie toy cats instead. But Jessie wanted a real cat. Then Jessie planned a wonderful plan. She collected lots of fluffy white cloth, some needles and cotton, locked herself in her room. And she made herself a cat suit. Next, she took all of her proper clothes and buried them in the garden. I'm going to be the cat in this house, she purred. What on earth do you think you're doing? Said Mum. I'm going to be like this until I get a cat, said Jessie. And if I don't get a cat, then I'm going to be like this forever. On Monday, Jessie went to school. When the teacher saw her cat suit, he shouted so loudly, she jumped up on top of the blackboard and wouldn't come down, even for a saucer of milk. On Tuesday, Jessie went to a restaurant. Cats don't sit at tables, said Jessie, even in posh places. Milk and trout, she said to the waiter. And please don't cook the trout. May it be served down here? Certainly, madam, said the waiter. Soon, Jessie began to smell a fish. When it was time for bath and bed, Dad went to catch Jessie. Now you'll have to take that silly suit off, he grinned. No, I won't, said Jessie. Not until I get a cat. Then Jessie curled up on her bedroom floor. In the middle of the night, Mum and Dad were roused by a horrible noise. It was like a million pigs falling downstairs, and the neighbours banging on the front door. It was Jessie on the garden wall. I want a cat! She was howling. Give her a cat, complained Mr. Biggs from next door. Give her a cat, complained Mr. Figs. Shouldn't be allowed, complained Mrs. Figs.
Stop that finishing noise, we're trying to get some kicking here. Some of us are going to get up in the morning and stop it.
Give her a cat, complained Mum. So early next morning, Dad went down to the pet shop and chose a cat. He took it to Jessie's door and knocked. Jessie, he called, I've got a surprise for you. Woof, woof, said Jessie. I want...
Bow wow, says the dog. Meow meow, says the cat. Grunt grunt, goes the hog, and squeak goes the rat. Twit twoo, says the owl. Caw caw, says the crow. Quack quack, says the duck. What sparrows say you know? So with sparrows and owls, with rats and with dogs, with ducks and with crows, with cats and with hogs. A fine song I have made to please you, my dear, and if it's well sung, 'twill be charming to hear. The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round all day long. The doors on the bus go open and shut, open and shut, open and shut. The doors on the bus go open and shut all day long.
The people on the bus step in and out, in and out, in and out. The people on the bus step in and out all day long.
The driver on the bus says, move along please, move along please, move along please. The driver on the bus says, move along please, all day long.
The windows on the bus slide up and down, up and down, up and down. The windows on the bus slide up and down all day long.
The wipers on the bus go swish, 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 swish. The wipers on the bus go swish, 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 all day long.
The riders on the bus go bumpity bump, bumpity bump, bumpity bump. The riders on the bus go bumpity bump all day long.
The babies on the bus cry, wah, 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 wah. The babies on the bus cry, wah, 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 all day long.
The mothers on the bus go shh, 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 shh. The mothers on the bus go shh, 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 all day long.
The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round all day long. A frog he would a wooing go, sing hey ho, says Roly. A frog he would a wooing go, whether his mother would let him or no. With a roly-poly, gammon and spinach, hey ho, says Anthony Roly.
So off he marched with his opera hat.
Hey ho, says Roly.
So off he marched with his opera hat, and on the way he met with a rat.
With a roly-poly, gammon and spinach, hey ho, says Anthony Roly. And when he came to Mouse's Hall, hey ho, says Roly. And when he came to Mouse's Hall, they gave a loud knock and they gave a loud call. With a roly-poly, gammon and spinach, hey ho, says Anthony Roly. Pray, Mrs. Mouse, are you within? Hey ho, says Roly. Pray, Mrs. Mouse, are you within?
Yes, kind sir, I am sitting to spin.
With a roly-poly, gammon and spinach, hey ho, says Anthony Roly. Pray, Mrs. Mouse, will you give us some beer? Hey ho, says Roly. Pray, Mrs. Mouse, will you give us some beer? For Froggy and I are fond of good cheer. With a roly-poly, gammon and spinach, hey ho, says Anthony Roly.
Now while they all were a merry-making,
hey ho, says Roly.
Now while they all were a merry-making, the cat and her kittens came tumbling in.
With a roly-poly, gammon and spinach, hey ho, says Anthony Roly. The cat, she seized the rat by the crown. Hey ho, says Roly. The cat, she seized the rat by the crown. The kittens, they pulled the little mouse down. With a roly-poly, gammon and spinach, hey ho, says Anthony Roly.
This put poor Frog in a terrible fright.
Hey ho, says Roly.
This put poor Frog in a terrible fright, so he took up his hat and wished them good night.
With a roly-poly, gammon and spinach, hey ho, says Anthony Roly. but as Froggy was crossing over a brook. Hey-ho, says Roly, but as Froggy was crossing over a brook, a lily white duck came and gobbled him up with a roly-poly, gammon and spinach. Hey-ho, says Anthony Roly.
So there was an end to 1, 2, and 3.
Hey-ho, says Roly.
So there was an end to 1, 2, and 3.
The rat,
the mouse,
and the little froggy with the roly-poly, gammon and spinach. Hey-ho, says Anthony Roly.
Birdie sings the sweetest things. Bump the elephant isn't quite as eloquent because the sound gets tangled round in his trunkety trunk. But every elephant, I suppose, learns to cope with his nose in his element as he goes. Trump, trump, trumpety trump. Birdie skips and never trips. Bump the elephant isn't quite as elegant because his feet are not so neat. Clump, clump, clumpety clump. But every elephant as he grows tries to keep on his toes in his element as he goes. Bump, bump, bumpety bump, bump.
Bump the elephant. Bump's upside-down friend. One morning, Birdie heard some grunting noises. "Is that you, Bump?" she whistled from her tree. But Bump was not there. The noise came from something strange and wobbly that Birdie had never seen before. What a surprise she had to find it was Bump's feet. "Why are you standing on your head, Bump?" she asked. Before he could answer, Bump gave an extra big wobble. And over he went. "Because," said Bump, "I want to learn to walk upside down, but I keep falling over." "Why?" asked Birdie. "If my head was where my toes were, I could see where I was going, then I wouldn't bump into things anymore." "It must make you very dizzy," said Birdie. "It does," said Bump. "Everything is still going round." "Well, you just sit there for a minute," said Birdie. "Then we'll go for a walk." While Bump sat and waited for the world to stop spinning, something splashed on his head. "Is it going to rain?" "I don't think so," said Birdie. "The sun's shining." Then down splashed another drop, then another. "But I'm sure I felt raindrops," said Bump. "How can it be raining when the sky is blue?" said Birdie. "Anyway, you're sitting under a tree, and it doesn't rain under trees." Bump was very puzzled and looked up into the tree. There he saw someone small and dark hanging from a branch. "Hello," said Bump. "Hello," sniffed the stranger. "I'm Birdie, and this is my friend Bump," chirped Birdie, joining in. "What's your name?" "Batty," sniffed the stranger. "Why are you crying?" asked Bump. "Because I'm ugly and nobody likes me," said Batty. "Don't cry," said Bump. "We'll be your friends." "Why are you hanging upside down like that?" asked Birdie. "So that the tears don't make my furs soggy, of course," said Batty. "It makes talking to you very hard," said Bump. "It certainly does," agreed Birdie. "I can't help it," said Batty, beginning to cry again. "Everyone in my family hangs upside down like this." "We didn't mean to upset you, did we, Bump?" chirped Birdie. Only Bump did not answer. Where his head had been, Bump's feet suddenly appeared. "Now I'm the same way up as you," he told Batty. Batty began to giggle. "You do look funny." In fact, he giggled so much, he fell from his perch. And when Bump toppled over, He giggled even more. At least you've cheered up Batty, said Birdie. I'm glad, said Bump, but I don't think I'll stand on my head anymore. Things look much nicer this way up. Shall we go for a walk? Batty went too, and giggled all the way.
One chilly day, Rosie and Jim were going along on the good boat Ragdoll when Rosie heard a strange sound. "What's that?" she said. "It's me," said Jim. "I'm singing." "Oh," said Rosie, "it sounds like a tummy ache to me." "It's a happy song," said Jim. "Listen," said Rosie. "What's that?" "Another happy song," said Jim. "It sounds happier than yours," said Rosie. "Let's go and see." "It's a school," said Jim. "Come in," said a lady at the door. Oh, they had a great time in the school. They banged drums, they tinkled triangles, they made sweet sounds on the glockenspiel, and they sang a happy song with the children. "Now your song sounds happy," said Rosie. "You can join in," said Jim. So she did.